What's up, bodyweight warriors? Welcome back to another video, another vlog. We're going to be chatting today about a few things, quite some common questions. We're going to talk about training, splits, some rest days, some cardio, all of that sort of stuff. Kind of a collection of various comments that I keep getting asked, and I want to chat to you guys about it. But first of all, I'd like to show you my kitchen. or the lack thereof at the moment. If you didn't know, if you haven't been following me on Instagram, so it's where I share most of this stuff. I've been renovating the house that I'm currently in for the past year. I've learned lots of bits and pieces and from various trades, and it's been something that I've really enjoyed doing, but haven't made much in terms of YouTube content on at all. But I have a question to ask you, because I've recently made an investment in another property, which I'm going to be doing like a full renovation of, most of which by myself, and I don't know whether you thought that would be something of interest that I would film and then share at some point. If you're interested in that sort of thing, let me know and I'll do so. I'm probably going to film it anyway because it'll be fun just to look back on. But yeah, I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on it, or whether just tell me to shut up and I won't mention it again. Alright, so training split. This is a question that gets asked quite a lot. And it actually led me to making kind of a video where I broke down a lot of the things about why certain training splits might be better than others, etc. So I'll link to that video down below. But I guess today I just want to share with you what I'm personally using at the moment. Now it's important to remember that what I'm using has its reason in the certain time and place in which it's done. So what I'm doing now, for example, isn't what I did a couple of years ago, and it's because my training's in a different place, I've got different focus, and ultimately I'm stronger than I was 2 years ago. Ultimately, there's lots of different factors that need to be considered when we're talking about training splits. I can't just say this is what I do and therefore you should do it, because we're probably going to be in a different place. But that being said, as a broad overview, at the moment my training is the following. I'm doing 4 handstand sessions per week, 2/2.5 strength sessions, and then 2 flexibility sessions. So it may or may not sound like a whole lot depending on your personal perspective here, but that ultimately isn't a whole lot of training. Basically, I train 4 days per week because I do my strength and my flexibility stuff on the days that I'm also doing handstands. So 3 rest days in total, plenty of rest, that's an important one. And for me, this seems to be kind of a manageable level of training to do. So let's put this in a little bit of context, because obviously we want to think about our training split and our training in relation to goals. So the handstand obviously for me is a big one. I've been working for the last 3 years towards the one arm. I finally kind of have it. I don't want to lose it, and I still really enjoy training it. I'm now into the fun stage of one arm. So the grind is kind of a little bit over, and I just like playing with it. So for me, I still want to be training that 4 times a week, spending a good amount of time doing it. And ultimately that's going to take away a little bit from my overall recovery capacity, which is why I'm only doing 2.5 strength sessions. This is a little bit of the balancing act that you have to do. My main goals at the moment really are strength focused. I'm working at the moment towards the 90-degree handstand push-up and the planche. They're kind of the big 2. And then now that gyms are back open here, at least in England, I'm also going to be working towards 200 kilo deadlift, 150 kilo squats. But I haven't lifted in like 6 months. So that one's going to be an interesting one. So at the moment, here's kind of what my week looks like. Now I'm just going to get James to throw up a little graphic, because it will illustrate things better than I can explain myself. So I'm still sticking with the upper lower body split. I just think, generally speaking, that's kind of the best practice for calisthenics, unless there's some real specific or different focuses that we want to do. You'll notice that I'm only doing really 1 strength session per week for upper body and lower body. And this is kind of something that has developed over maybe the past year. I used to train strength a lot more frequently, whereas over the past year, with the guidance of Emmett as well, we've transitioned to just less frequency and actually seem to be getting better results, which is always an interesting one. Those strength sessions themselves, they're much more intense. They're definitely hard, but that once a week seems to be a nice balance for myself personally with recovery, because of the handstands and the other things that I'm doing. The same kind of goes for lower body, but lower body is basically dumb. Upper body is a little bit more complex. So with lower body, you could just squat, deadlift heavy once per week. You're gonna make progress. It's not that complicated. But at the moment, it's really simple because of the adductor strength that I have. So along with these 2, I have like an accessory strength day. So I wouldn't class it as a full kind of strength session. It's more like a little bits and pieces that are nice to be added on. This is actually usually chipping away at the planche just to help build up a little bit of capacity, but it's only maybe like 6 to 10 sets. It's not a full session by itself. It's more just like accessory sort of strength. And then finally we have the flexibility sessions. At the moment I'm working on bridge and front split. Again, middle split because of the adductor injury. I can't really train that at the moment. I generally see flexibility as something that is a modular add-on. It is going to be part of your training in general, but if we're going to do focused work on it, it's generally just something that you would add to the end of a strength or another session if you're doing other training. For example, my front split session, I just put after my lower body strength training, and my bridge session, I put after one of my handstand sessions. Nice and simple. So that may be a little unexpected to hear that, because essentially if we remove handstands out of the equation, ultimately I'm only really training 2.5 times a week. It's not a massive amount of time training, but I think there's just a bit of a myth kind of in the fitness industry that we need to be training all this amount of time. Most of us have normal jobs. We have other things going on in our lives that are going to take up some of that time and capacity to recover from training. We don't need to train like a professional athlete who has hours a day to dedicate to it. Especially with strength work, we can get along well with just 1-2 sessions a week, and we're gonna see some good progress. Handstands, again, a little bit of a different kettle of fish. But what I would encourage you to do is have a reasonable amount of general movement just in your thing. So it doesn't need to be training. Maybe it's a sport that you go play. For instance, I play golf. That combined with a few hard workouts during the week is ultimately what I would probably be doing if I was just training for general health, fitness, and wellness. I used to train probably more like 6 days per week, a couple hours a day back when I was in university when I was about 20 years old. And to be honest with you, my progress then was pretty linear. There was a little bit of gains, but not too much. Ultimately, I was just a bit fatigued all the time. I was doing too much training, and fatigue is what masks your fitness level. Sometimes this is useful for a short period of time, but if we're doing this all the time, then we're never really able to express our true ability. I think there's that expectation as well that people should feel like they are working hard. They should feel that they've got, DOMS or that soreness after a training session like that, or they've sweated a lot, or they feel tired after training sessions. That's their measure of a good training session. Whereas in reality, the measure of a good training session should be your progress, not necessarily in that session, but long term. If you're not seeing much progress, maybe it's time to assess how much work you're doing, because it's more common that people are doing too much rather than too little. Finally, let's talk briefly about cardio, because it seems to be one of the most recurring questions I get asked. I don't really do much cardio, and I've talked about this before, and just because I don't really enjoy it, I don't enjoy going for a run. I would maybe do a swim, but again, I don't really care for it. The one thing I do really enjoy is my morning walks. I always walk pretty much every single day for about 30 to 45 minutes, and I try to be generally active throughout the day, whether that's doing some bits of DIY or just generally moving, getting out for a walk. That being said, I do plan this summer to start incorporating sprints into my training, because I don't know, I've just got a craving for it, and it'd be a fun, different form of cardio, something to test more of that explosive, that high-end strength, something a little bit quicker, that's gonna, mix up the training, keep things fresh, keep things interesting. And sometimes the best reason to do a form of training is that it seems fun. So although I've made this video today to share with you my personal training plan at the moment, there is no perfect training program out there. There's not one program that you can do and that's gonna get you everything. Ultimately, this stuff moves and changes. There are, however, plenty and loads of them out there, good training programs. So, grab one, do it for some time, 4 to 8 weeks, and then have a genuine assessment. How did you do? How was your progress? If you made progress, it's a good thing. Making progress isn't easy. That program was good. If you didn't make progress, then maybe why not? Were you doing too much? Did you have a particularly stressful period of time in your life that kind of detracted from the progress you could have made? There's loads of different factors to consider. But one factor that is universal is consistency. As always, this is the mantra that I keep on going on about. That being said, I would love to hear your opinion on this. I'd love to hear what exactly you are doing right now. What is your sort of training at the moment? Let me know in the comments down below. Give me some thoughts, your goals, your split, all of that sort of stuff. If you just enjoyed this video, you can hit that thumbs up button and support the channel. Right next to it is that subscribe button. If you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe, don't miss out on any more future videos. But that's basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong week. Out.